you know?
It's interesting. I've actually left a lot of anger into, like, I was never, I don't think I identify as being angry.
I wouldn't say you were angry, but.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I did not allow myself to feel angry.
It's scary.
And I think when I did start getting angry, and, but I think for me, it's the depth of it that actually shakes through my whole body. And I think for me, I've been really trying to channel it and understand it. And, you know, seeing the way that, you know, folks like rose up over, you know, the past couple years. Yeah. Not that it hasn't been happening before, but just
the volume,
recognition of a global a global no more. Like, I think that in some ways, and I'm kind of talking slow right now because it's like
intentional.
That interest, like that kind of shaping and playing with that energy is the most powerful thing in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think for us, we have every reason to be angry.
Always.
And so, you know, I think for me, like what I've become very interested in is like, how can we, you know, work with that in a way that we move something? Because there's a lot of people who are, we know what's going on.
Yeah, we're living it.
And I think, you know, in some ways it's like it's really hard for me to actually kind of tap in and tap out. Like, it's like, so that's why I think I don't play with anger. Because it's like, I'm literally like, all the time. Like, you can live in that space. But I think there's an exchange. There's a little bit of like, you know, where does the peace come internal our bodies with that anger? We have to hold all of that all the time.
And I think, that's like where the only piece that I have even slightly figured out is like, right, my joy is one of the biggest disruptors, right? Like I've seen people be disturbed by my joy. Right. I've watched it happen. And so whatever. Yeah. But also, the anger can be deep, can be all the time. And the only thing that I know I've learned from facilitating, I don't think I've learned it from myself, is people can't stay at 100. Yeah. So let people pop off, you know, like let them, you know, lose it a little bit. It's a hardo here. And they'll come back at not 100. It might be 85, but it's not 100. Yeah. In like community spaces, I think it's like okay to let people be angry. You know, it's okay to let people express that however that comes out. But for myself, definitely like I could stay angry. Yeah. I know I could.
And it's the thing is, it's like, you know, for me, it's like I put up a post like one Halloween or something, and it's like, or like sometimes I'll go to work and like, I'm the angry Black woman today. Like I am that. And, you know, just to embrace that bit of like, that is a thing. And even Black women in themselves, like essentially identifying it as being that. Yeah. You know, how does that, what is the role for us? What is the place and space where we can.
What is the role? And what is the role for folks watching to say, here's our space, and so, like you said,
we don't have enough space. Like, that's the thing. We do not have enough space.
And also, we don't have enough space unpoliced. And I mean by literal police officers, but also I mean by like, man, white women will police the shit out of you.
And that's the thing. We don't have the place and space to even be angry and to know what that feels like. Because the thing for me is like, I'm going to go home and be angry. I'm going to go to work and be angry. Yeah. I'm going to like where we don't have space. We don't have access to space. And so I don't even think that we're in a place where we can even understand the role
that anger plays.
That anger plays, that like fed up plays, that like, because we know that what's on the other side of that is that shit happens, right?
Yeah, and I think like maybe like I just can like so I think anger has a role for Black women so far as it actually is like part of our magic. Yes. Right? Like it actually is magical that we can get angry and then like choose to like transmute that into something else, right?
And the way that you're saying that right now, it brings up all the ways that I carry anger with me all the time. And I can close my eyes and like listen to that truth because I know that like what you're saying, that's it.
Yeah.
It is magic.
You know what? And I can see, you know, like there's been just so much done with Black woman anger to the point where there have been laws that have like banned Black women for existing even just in their solace, in their truth. Because when we reclaim every part of ourselves, shit gets done. You know, shit gets done.
Yeah.
Like there's been laws and you know, kind of this like darkened image of spirituality as Black people know it to be, as we can feel it to be. And that's because folks are trying to keep us away from our own power.
Right.
You know? So I can just imagine the aunties and mamas that have been cooking and mad.
Yeah.
You know? Magic, because people are still fed.
Or the way that you know, and I'll bring it back to like how I process that. Because I was this happens to me all the time. I have the body experience of like, you know, you don't get to escape from the things that happen in your brain.
No.
And the trauma that exists in your body, you don't get to escape from that. And so for me, it often comes in washing the dishes. So it's like
cleaning,
because you're literally like
hands in water.
I remember being at my like nan's place or grandma's, like doing the dishes and like you're hearing all of the discussion happening around you, and you're just kind of doing this thing of like taking it all in, cleaning the dishes. So I find for me, it's like if I'm mad or something, like I literally go clean the dishes and just like be cleaning and bring that magic into the home space to like kind of, but you're just cycling. Like it's like
you're moving it.
Yeah,
right?
You're moving it.
And then oftentimes, you know, like once you've cleaned, then it's like, okay, we can like open the windows. We can think about the flowers. We can water the plants. Maybe I can go outside, get some vitamin D, you know?
Cleaning.
But cleaning, definitely. When I'm mad, I'm cleaning. I'm cleaning. That's true. It's true. And I know I could think about 10 other Black women that would say the same thing.
Yes.
You know, you're mad when
and
you're
you're
the
also
broom.
cleaning up too, because you know what? You're like, I'm like cleaning up in terms of like something got to get out, like who's getting cut off, like literally like the cleaning up of the like the protection, right? And I think about that, and that's what I'm thinking about now too. Right now, I'm kind of going to a place of like protection. Like we cannot protect our young people, or like we don't have the ability to. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to go there right now, but I'm just thinking about like the fact that
it's well, you know why? Because you're rooted in youth work, right?
Yeah.
You're rooted in like dreaming about future generations. So you have to be kind of like G-checked with stats and with media.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do we have left to pull out of our back pocket, you know? Like what's still back there? Like what haven't we returned to that helps keep us safe? And like, I think a lot of it, you were talking about I don't know if this was on camera, but you were talking about your space and sanctuary. Like, we don't have enough sanctuary. Like, where do we run when we're in danger? Where do we run when we're not safe? And
I've been writing about that. Like, where do you go? Where do you go? And this is a question to people who do not look like us.
Yeah.
You know what? It's them.
Well, cottages. We were talking about cottages,
yeah, because
right?
the thing is that they have a million safe spaces and places where they go.
Everywhere.
They never think about. I mean, I won't say never, because there's a lot of people who've lived a lot of hard things in their life, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Where do you go? And I want that to be the place. And this is the question for the audience and for the people, you know, because I think it's like, you know, and just this thing of like, when you're not feeling your best and you're not feeling safe, where do you go? And do you know that space, does it work for you? Does something happen? Well, think about not ever having access to that. Think about not ever having a place. There be nowhere.
You know what's really funny? You're saying this. In my family growing up had access to a cottage, right? So I would have been Black and not in a city center. So just a lot less noise. And I would go spend time like with the water and like just like running around barefoot. And it's like actually like that was a safe place.
Yeah.
That was like one of the few places where my body was not in danger.
Yeah.
And like that probably changed who I am and will be. Totally. You know?
And I think for me, I had safety in North Preston. I had
of course.
safety with my people. I had safety my whole life in those ways. But I think for me, it wasn't enough for me to just have it for me. Because I know that there's other people who don't have that.
Yeah.
And so I think
I hear you.
the commitment to building that for people is what drives my work, because I want to be safe with people. And I think that I want to also have places and spaces in this world that I want to be able to go anywhere and everywhere. Like, you know, I think that there's part of like the way that I walk down these streets now, like it feels like I'm walking different now because I live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so in some ways I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
here.
walking.
I'm here. Yeah.
I'm here. This is my place. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, and just so that everybody else can recognize that you might come here and you think it's a great place, but we still have a lot of work to do. So it's like, you can't get too comfortable just arriving here, because there's a lot of stories that exist beyond the walls at the table that you're eating at and having wine and all the merry joy, which is great. But I'm happy for you. But it's like, there's so much more to do. And because the spaces and places where Black people, Black women are feeling safer, it's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a reality as we lose places and spaces, as we, you know, as we see this place grow, we're losing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
that's real.
Yeah, I get caught up in the loss, and like that makes me so sad.
Yeah.
But I think, like, just in this conversation, it's like, okay, so we're losing spaces. I guess the only thing left to do for the next generation is to make the space.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the only thing there is to do, is to make the space
why,
and make it permanent.
why is that so hard? Why is it so hard?
Because don't nobody want to buy us no real estate. That's why. Buy me a building, please.
Yeah.
I'll do good with it.
If we had a building, you know what I mean?
One.
Like, the answers are so simple to me.
One. And I've been in conversations with people, like, you know, with government, being like, I know y'all give buildings to organizations. Yeah. I know you do.
We could run it.
We don't need anybody. I don't want anybody. No. I don't want one staff member.
They would hate that, though. So that, anyways. So I just think that we know what we need to do.
Yeah,
and I think
that
the only thing that's really stopping us in some ways is not having all of the resources, and also just recognizing that even us getting together to have this time to even have this, this is a start.
Yeah, totally.
So we're gonna make the place and space. We're already doing it, but the thing is like, it's still on our backs. It's still on our shoulders. It's still our work to do. Maybe we love that. Maybe we want to be, but maybe we want it to be a little bit more easier. Maybe we want to get a call from a developer and say, we really love your
the work
vision.
that you're doing. Yeah, we love your dreams.
We believe that we cannot build our society by leaving you behind. Like, you know what I mean? Like, could there be any kind of offering that wouldn't translate to anybody losing any money?
It never does.
You know?
It never truly
If that's
does.
what it really is about. Like, is it about money? Is it about money? Is it about safety? Are you afraid of me? Like, what is it? Why can't we be a part of the society in a way that allows, like, what is it?
What's the answer?
Well, I mean,
Why
in
can't
some,
we be in society?
yeah, I think in some ways it's because like we're still viewed as like illegal. You feel me? Like everything I do is somehow illegal, right? Like, you know, criminalized, exactly. So I'm walking down the street, illegal. Like, you know, I got a good job, illegal. I got a nice car, illegal. Like, you know, I don't look nice, illegal. Like, you know, I'm sober, somehow illegal and impossible. I'm not sober, criminalized. Like, we aren't even at the place where, again, we can experience, I would go as far as to say 98% of spaces without being policed.
Yeah.
And so until people just let us be, you know, and like really like let it, like there's this kind of like culture of like meddling, being over involved, like being micromanaged, that just ain't it, you know? Yeah. And so there's still a lot of like bucking, I feel like our generation has to do to like prove kind of like that we're worthy of the same things as everyone else.
And that's what I think for me right now. I'm there in a sense of I've proven everything.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing, like,
that's how I feel.
So I think now when we come to the table with anything, if people are not showing us that they're about it, they're not.
You know what else though? I will